What's up, everybody? Mr. Smith here with another quick math video for you. Today what we want to look at is we want to look at some of these exponent rules. Okay, so we're going to start with this first problem, 2 to the 5th power all raised to the 10th power. Alright, what we want to do is we want to see what's happening with these exponents. Okay, how we can sort of simplify this using those exponents. We want to know what to do with it. So one problem strategy you can use is you can simplify this by using smaller numbers. Okay, so we're going to take, instead of saying 2 to the 5th, then to the 10th power, we're going to just say 2 to the 3rd, then to the 4th power. That way we can kind of write it out and see what's happening, and then we'll go back to the more difficult problem. Alright, so we're going to start with the outside exponent first, the 4 to the 4th power. So basically what that's telling us is that everything on the inside is going to be repeatedly multiplied 4 times. So we get 2 to the 3rd multiplied by itself 4 times. Okay, now we can sort of take apart the inside and say, okay, well, 2 to the 3rd, each one is really just 2 times 2 times 2. I'm just going to use the dot. The dot for multiplication. So this is really what's happening, and this is all multiplied together. So really what we have is, if we look at it, we have 12 factors of 2. So this really is the same as saying 2 to the 12th power. Okay, so we go back to our original problem, and so what happened is, with our 2 exponents, we actually multiplied those. Because 3 times 4 is 12. So we actually multiplied our 2 exponents. Okay, and that's the rule. Okay, so this one here, now that we know the rule, we basically are just going to multiply these 2 exponents. So this becomes 2 to the 50th power. Okay, and if we generalize that, we say x to the a power all raised to the b power is the same thing as saying x to the ab power, which is just a times b. So you just multiply those 2 exponents together. You have 2 to the 3rd power times 2 to the 5th power. Okay, this is different, because we're not multiplying a power of a power. Okay, we're multiplying 2 powers together, so it's slightly different. So we're not going to multiply these 2 exponents here. So here, this, if we look at it, it's just 2 times 2 times 2, all multiplied by 2 times 2 times 2, 5 times. So really, if we look at it, it's actually 2, there's going to be 8 factors of 2. So this is actually 2 to the 8th power. So what we did here is we actually added the 2 exponents. So when there's multiplying of the 2 powers with the same base, then you're going to add the exponents. So to generalize, if we had x to the a power times x to the b power, that would be equal to x to the a plus b power. Okay, so a couple key things to know is that it has to be the same base, and it has to be multiplication we're talking about. Okay, so if we're adding or if we are subtracting these 2 exponents, then the rules don't work. Okay, next example. So if we have 10 to the 4th divided by 10 to the 2nd, or in a fraction form, it's the same thing, but it's basically dividing it. So what we want to do is we want to see what happens with these exponents. Alright, so we have 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 on the top, and then on the bottom we have 10 times 10. And if we know about fractions, we know that we can simplify these with the factors of 10. So we have 2 factors of 10 in common. So this really just becomes 10 to the 2nd power. Okay, and what we did is, with the 2 exponents, we actually subtracted them. That's where we got that 2 from. Okay, so we took the numerator, the exponent in the numerator, and we subtracted from the exponent in the denominator. So to generalize, if we have x to the a power divided by x to the b power, that would be equal to x to the a minus b power. We subtract the 2 powers. Okay, and the key is always has to be the same base. Okay, so if we have 5 to the 3rd power over 4 to the 2nd power, the rule doesn't work here. Okay, because we have a different base. 2 different bases. So the rule does not work. Alright, so in summary, we take a look here. So we have a power of a power, x to the a power to the b power is the same thing as saying x to the a times b power. Okay, so 2 to the 4th power, all raised to the 3rd power, will be the same thing as saying 2 to the 12th power. Okay, so power of a power. So that's one rule. The last one, x to the a power times x to the b power is the same as x to the a plus b power. Okay, so for example, 2 to the 3rd power times 2 to the 5th power, that's really the same as 2 to the 8th power. Okay, you add the exponents. Okay, and the key thing here is that this is multiplication, and these are the same base. So the bases have to be the same, and it has to be multiplication that we're talking about. Summary, x to the a power divided by x to the b power is the same thing as saying x to the a minus b power. So for example, 10 to the 3rd power divided by 10 to the 1st power, that's the same thing as saying 10 to the 2nd power, okay, because we subtract the two exponents. That's called the quotient rule. Alright, the key is, on the quotient rule, is it has to be the same base. So here we have a base of 10. That's kind of the key, and it has to be division. So what we're doing is we're dividing. It looks like a fraction, but it's the same thing as division. That's it for today. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you learned something. If you have any questions about anything today, please let me know. And we'll see you next time. Later.